What is up, my frosty brethren? My name is Arctic, and today I'm bringing you guys some Gears of War gameplay. This is my typical week-to-week Gears of War 4 discussion video. Today happens to also be Christmas, so for those of you celebrating the holiday, Merry Christmas to you. Hope you guys have a very blessed holiday and a Happy New Year. Today, pretty special day because I'm out with my family. Got my brother visiting. For those of you guys that may remember my brother, he goes by the alias Orange online, and he was part of our 2009 championship team that won MLG Dallas, and he's been a longtime teammate on Amazing. Most recently played Titanfall, and has been kind of MIA doing his own thing, but I wanted to get him on since he's here, since we're visiting family and talking about Gears of War.
Gears of War 4. What's going on, guys? Merry Christmas. I'm excited to be on the channel again and talking about some Gears, so let's get into it.
All right, so, Black Tusk is now taking over the reins from Epic, and Microsoft bought the IP back in like March or April of this year. What would you say your expectations are, kind of for the game, kind of broadly for Gears of War 4?
I think broadly, from a broad picture, would be consistency with the game. Like, out of the box, this thing has to work, right? They're switching, we're talking about a new team taking over. They've also got a lot of pressure on their shoulders. So I think coming out the gates with a solid product, that's got to be the #1 priority for this, new look, new franchise. So we'll see. That's
a pretty good general summation. Consistency, I like that, because you think about a lot of the releases of the other games. Gears 3 had a lot of polish. There's no denying that Gears 3 had a lot of polish. But when you talk about consistency, I think the balance was a lot, was off for a lot of people with things like stopping power, active reload damage, the rifle strength versus some of the other classes, as opposed to like a Gears 2, where some of those things weren't as prevalent. Obviously, stopping power was something that was introduced there. What are your kind of expectations from a weapon standpoint for the new Gears of War title, which we're calling Gears of War 4, but it could be, Gears of War Exodus or some other thing that people have been talking about on the internet. So, what do you think are your expectations there?
I think I would want to see more options, right? I want to see some new weapons. I want to see additional loadout options. I think that with all the new games that have come out, there's been a lot of variety, right, in your starting weapons. So I think that in the past they've stuck to a strict sort of set-based loadout when you spawn in, with very set things that you could have. So in the new one, I want to see a new variety and different flavors. Spice it up a little bit. Maybe we can try, different combinations and, see what works, see what doesn't work.
So, and I think a lot of people will probably be upset hearing you say that, but, a lot of folks have kind of gone away from that. And I'm personally of the opposite end now with Gears of War after seeing, Judgment and the results with that. And even to a certain degree, Gears of War 3 with the retro and the hammer burst. I think the balance game becomes a lot more challenging the more weapons and stuff that you introduce. And I feel like if Black Tusk is going to have a good starting point, they need to make less, not more.
Less, not more. Kind of scaling back, like Gears 1 style. Okay. That's respectable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I don't know if there's a whole big audience around it that necessarily agrees, but I feel like, at least, again, with their first iteration of it, scaling back a little bit, bringing in the range.
It's a safe move.
Yeah, tightening up the gameplay and playing it safe would be a little bit better from like a multiplayer standpoint. Now, if we're talking about campaign, I think you can introduce a whole lot of stuff there, right? Throw people in, let them use whatever they want, let them start out with a boom shot for all I care, because I think they actually do that a couple times throughout the different sections of the campaign over the course of the game. So I think from a balance standpoint, my expectations would be simplicity versus over.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen two different I remember reading an article. I can't remember what it was, but I've seen two different standpoints. One, of course, is the simplicity, and the other one talked about them. Talked about Black Tusk just introducing a radical new, just turning the page, flipping the page completely with the franchise. So I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm open. I'm not stuck in that particular solution. But I think that I'm more open than others are, and we know how.
Yeah, we know the mindset of a lot. Yeah, we know all about that. So, that's a pretty good, indication of where your head is at with weapons. What do you think about the maps and Gears of War? If you think about traditionally where they've been over Gears 1 through 3, what do you think they should lean towards with the new title?
Now for this one, I think that they should stick to what they've done in the past in terms of the ones that have worked, the maps that have worked, right? Our favorites are classics. So maybe introducing some new ideas here and there, but as far as the ones that we've loved and the ones that we've enjoyed, stick to that model, build around that, and then, maybe experiment here and there. But, along with going back to what we were saying at the beginning, consistency, I think, out of the box is key, and good map selection is key out of the box.
Right.
It's frustrating playing bad maps out of the box.
Yeah, and with that, I think there's like a quantity too, right? Like traditionally, I think Gears has shipped with 10 maps, 10 multiplayer maps. We kind of got a little spoiled, and I mentioned that my brother was playing Titanfall. We kind of got a little spoiled with Titanfall because
like 16?
Something like 15, 16 maps out of the box. So even if some of them were bad, you still had enough options that were good to be like, okay, I can go play this map. Oh, there's this bad one in here, but wait, there's like 5 other maps that I play that I can enjoy. If they come out of the bat and they have 5 good maps, that's not really hitting it for me. So I feel like they need to up that number somewhere between 15 and 20.
I'd like that.
And then you'd have a higher percentage opportunity of having maps that you'd actually enjoy. And then they could actually throw in a couple more of those, oddball maps like Hail, for example, or whatever, or Ruins or something like that play, in my opinion, awful over the course of Gears of War's history. I don't feel like they help to that flow.
I agree.
What do you think about the general movement and I would say stopping power, because that affects movement? What do you think about the combination of wall bounce, strafing, speed of the game, right? Because Gears of War 2 was super slow. I think it was 75% the speed of Gears 1 and Gears 3.
And there was less stopping power in Gears 3.
Right. Well, there was more stopping power in Gears 3 because the rifles were stronger. I think you felt it a little bit more, but it's hard to tell. I haven't done a one-to-one comparison, and I haven't seen a video in a long time between how they affect the speed. But both of them were atrocious in terms of how bad they actually.
Oh, that's right. How much you slowed down. As you came to a creep and crawl.
Yeah.
Well, I think that I'm not a fan of it. I was never a fan of it. I don't like when I'm moving. I don't like anything being able to slow me down. Feel like I'm crawling, what is that? Gears 1 nailed that. None of that.
Right.
So I don't want to see it in New Gears, but if there's an option, to turn it off, I could get behind that.
Right. And here's what, talking about options, I feel like I don't know how many I would give the player, because what I don't want to happen is, especially what we've seen in the past with Halo, is I don't want the competitive community or the hardcore guys playing 2 different games. That would be a travesty for the community if they ended up with the Halo effect of having 30,000 options, and then you try to get someone interested in the game, and they're like, what in the world are you playing? I'm playing Gears. You're playing that's what you call pro. That's what you call pro gameplay. Okay. That's not the same.
It's a barrier,
right? And so that mentality of your settings being pro settings, that shit needs to go. I personally feel like it needs to be of a mindset where I'm the best, on whatever settings you give me. If you give me the default settings, I'm gonna whoop your butt on these settings. It doesn't matter what settings they are. And I think that's the mentality that pro players need to have, or competitive players need to have going forward with competitive gaming, because the biggest games are playing default settings.
Yeah, and not altering because it's you know, casual friendly.
So that's the mentality that I feel like they need to take going forward. But movement-wise, I don't feel like you were pretty big on wall bouncing. You were one of the OG strafers. So
Yeah.
how was your your feelings towards wall bouncing versus strafing?
I mean, you hit it pretty much nail on the head. You know, when I think about wall bouncers, I think about people like Ribs, you know, people like that who are just ridiculous with it. I think there was another guy, you shared a link, that he was just ridiculous with it.
There's a couple of dudes that have really expanded on. There was Farico.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
he was ridiculous with that.
He was one of the first dudes that really showed some video of him using it well, but I don't know how good he was.
Farnico.
Yeah, Farnico.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
There's some guys like Toy Soldier now, new school guys.
That's right. That's
he's
right.
real good. And I think Moo Moo Milk is another dude, but I don't know how good he is in a competitive environment. I've never seen that dude play outside of his montages that he makes, and we know montages are not an indication of actual skill. So I don't know if he. I mean, he looks good, but I don't know if he's actually.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I always prefer strafing because I like to just be able to know that I'm hitting what I'm hitting, and for me, the best way to do that is to strafe, and sort of. I've always been that way. Introducing wall bouncing, and there's obviously players who are gifted to do that, but for me it's just too much chaos. I just want to be able to do what's the least amount as possible.
So you're like the Tim Duncan of
yeah, I like that.
You like the basics.
I'm a legacy player. I'm a legacy player.
Sticking to the basics.
Yeah, I'm like I'll be 25 soon, so the young bucks can do all that stuff. I got to get them down and out. That's what my key was.
Okay, well, we don't want to take you guys on too long of a discussion about Gears of War, but I feel like that's a pretty good spot where we can kind of take a break and maybe we'll continue the discussion. Maybe next week I'll upload another video of you and I kind of talking about Gears of War. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I've been doing these Gears of War discussion videos weekly. I think this is like the 19th week or something like that. So you guys are probably missing out if you have not seen the previous videos. But yeah, until the next time, folks, I will catch you all later. Stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
So you missed my previous Gears video, huh? Well, luckily for you, it's right there. Just click right there. Come on. What are you waiting on? Just click. Click it. It's right there for you. Come on. This is unnecessary.